way to really choose to commit to yourself financially is the fact that I need you to hold the space for allowing. I need you to allow yourself to expand and allow yourself to contract. Why? Because that's the normal process of life, right? Again, we cannot control this. And remember, control is a way that we do stress responses. What's going on, everybody? We are going to talk about today 4 steps in how to choose to commit to yourself financially. All right. I have been witnessing so many people in transition and turmoil, and how do we get to this next place? So I am going to share with you the 4 things that I have been finding working the best with people that I work with. So don't forget to hit that subscribe, like, and notification bell. Why? Because I'm going to get you to a life that you love, because been there, done that for a long time. And being the money chick, I know how to really transition it in a practical way that aligns not only with you and your heart, but also your pocketbook. All right, ready? So number 1 is I need you to start to really surrender into adapting. I know we've had a lot to adapt with over the last couple of years, and I don't think that fire hose is going to stop happening. And in this process, we just have to surrender into that change is inevitable. And the more we can just choose to accept the fact that whatever rises, we need to accept, or we suffer. So for an example, if there's something that comes up with you financially, let's just say you don't get the raise you expected and it doesn't match inflation, and you're not adapting, or you're going to the gas pump and you drive a lot and you're not adapting going in your cash flows. Like, this is how this all applies to money. And you're saying, "Oh my God, it's creating a pressure cooker because of inflation right now." But you're not really looking at your cash flows going, "Okay, what's going to go, because it's not as much of a priority, because it's more of a priority for me to drive my car and have more gasoline." It's down to these little practical things that we get so nutted up about, and we don't live the life that we want to live because we're spending all this time and energy in these areas that are sucking the life out of you, quite honestly. And then we turn to all of our subconscious belief systems that cause us to blame, judge, shame, guilt. All these things start coming up, and then we're in our patterning. And I have lots of videos on our subconscious patterning, so please watch some other videos if you want to understand how your communities and the households that you grew up in are actually molding how you're responding to the world today. And there are ways to shift that. I've got lots of videos on that stuff. Number 2 way to really choose to commit to yourself financially is the fact that I need you to hold the space for allowing. I need you to allow yourself to expand and allow yourself to contract. Why? Because that's the normal process of life, right? Again, we cannot control this. And remember, control is a way that we do stress responses. There are 5 ways that we respond to stress in the world, and one of them is trying to control and entrain everything around us. Anyone know a super controlling person in your world? Or a people pleaser? That's another way that we respond to stress in the world. Or you try to fix it for everybody else, right? You might disassociate and completely check out. All those ways of coping with stress says that we need to allow ourselves more space, more mental space, emotional space, financial space. We need to hold that maybe physical space. So let's talk about financial space for a second. What do I mean by when allow yourself to have more financial space? So financial space is the fact that if you have every dime coming into your checking account goes out, and actually you're creating debt, so you have more going out, that's where you need to create some space. And what does that have to do with this? Has to do with not the fact that you're a victim and you're being financially scarce. It's just the fact that you need to choose what's empowering and expansive for you, as opposed to like being victim to the system. This is how you take your financial power back. It's about approaching your finances in an empowered way. And I talk about this all the time when I do my group coaching. And by all means, if you want to be a part of that, go to juliemurphy.com and sign up because I'm going to have a summer one starting up. We're already 8 weeks into the current coaching group that I have, but by all means, I'm here to help. Let's get on it. The third way to choose to commit to yourself financially is that I need you to choose you. What do I mean by that? Choosing you means that no matter what life stage or life event you're in the midst of, I need you to choose how you are going to participate in the world. Meaning, start with your heart and then add your smarts. That's what one of my teachers tells me all the time. And let's still for an example. Julie in her 40s is not the same as Julie in her 20s. Or my 30s. So something I chose in my 30s that might be still running and operating in my life, that may not be what makes me tick today. But we have to go back to the first step. We have to adapt. We have to allow ourselves to expand and contract. And then we need to choose to change it. Make that choice. Make that choice going, you know what? I am ready to step into my new life. I am ready to step into what I desire to really have, because you need to make sure that while you're doing this, the reason we avoid it is because we don't want to feel our feelings along the way, and we avoid them, whether it's fear or shame or guilt. And the only way to the other side is to feel them, because otherwise those unprocessed emotions, and I talk about this in my Emotion Behind Money book, we talk about the fact that when we don't process our emotions, they build up like crystallization in our bodies, and then we actually wind up creating disease in our body. So let's not do that. Let's choose to feel those feelings along the way, so those emotions that you're burying are coming up. And the fourth way to choose to commit to yourself financially is that I need you to start taking some action. You need breathing space, right? Whether you can adapt more to things that are happening if you're taking action steps that actually give you more wiggle room to allow the expansion and contraction. The problem is we push ourselves, we jam ourselves. And I think a lot of us realized this when we went through the pandemic, that, oh my gosh, let's look at it from a financial standpoint. You didn't realize how much money you were spending in restaurants, running around like a crazy person, to this thing, to that thing, all the parties, the big weddings. Like, everybody had to invite everybody to weddings. We had huge weddings. Now it's so funny. Everyone's having these small little weddings because you're really choosing what your priorities are. Because you're like going, okay, just because everybody else is having a $60,000 wedding, do I have to have a $60,000 wedding? Or sending your kids to college, or can they get some classes done on Zoom online so it costs me a lot less money so that I can retire on time? There's all kinds of components depending on what life stage and life event you're at that you could choose to take action that creates more space so that you're nimble to create exactly the life that you want to have. But if you don't choose you, which is step number 3, to choose from your heart for what it is that you want to create in the world, well, then how the heck do you know how to take action? So many people go, well, I'm just going to take this, and well, I'm just going to take that. Well, do you understand that you, in that space of not claiming what your desire is actually not going to get you to exactly where you want to be, because you're staying in neutral and you're batting for both teams. You're not really actually like putting your like money where your mouth is, if you will. That's why I love like taking action. Sometimes it's about, I had somebody tell me today going, okay, I know that my rent is going to go up. So I've actually already started putting that extra $50 a month these last 6 months into a savings account. So that way, when my rent goes up, I'm already prepared for it. And in the meantime, she was super proactive and made sure money went inside her savings and built up some more insulation and created more space. So these are 4 ways that we can apply to how we approach our money and our life, for that matter, that will get you to a happier and healthier place. Don't forget, hit that subscribe, like, and notification bell, because I'm going to help you get to a life that you absolutely love. Just stick with me here, and we'll get you there. Talk to you soon. Bye.